Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at one of the two decks that topped the SEAO wildcard spot tournament. So I thought, why not take a look at them? They were quite interesting decks, and considering I'm making this video not long after that event had taken place, I really wanted to at least look at the decks and give them a solid go, as they're probably some of the more competitive decks that you can pull out at the moment, considering we've only had a couple of days with the expansion at this point. So overall, this is of course the Mysteria rune deck that was played. We also have a blood deck we'll be covering next video. Hopefully that all goes smoothly. But overall, your main win condition being Mysteria Prodigy, as it is just kind of an sorcery that really burns your opponent down hard. Otherwise, everything else is kind of to support that and get there. You can also win through pure just board presence and damage. That's always a possibility with these followers and these spells, as things like Founder really do boost you up quite quickly. So it took me a little while to really get used to this deck. I had about 6 losses with this deck before I started getting some consistent wins, which were pretty reasonable once I'd got the hang of the deck. It was just a reasonably steep learning curve for me personally to get the hang of it. Some people might find this deck a little easier, some people might find it harder, but once you get past that and you start to get on a kind of rhythm, you're really set to kind of just keep rolling into what you need. So hopefully we can check this out. And first up, we are playing against Forest. Forest I haven't seen too much of, as I mean, it's definitely lacking when it came to new cards, at least that's what I felt. And honestly, I think with how many cards are literally in this set, there just wasn't that much room for Forest to really grow from where it was. I mean, Control has a chance at the moment, but even then, I feel like it's the lacking of all the classes right now, at least. It may be better in the future. I mean, mini expansion can change a lot going forward. It's just a matter of time. But honestly, I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. So we're just rolling pretty casually, Mysteria into Mysteria over and over again as much as we can, really working our hand down. It's really nice because they are actually Mysteria spell boosts, which is great. They work really nicely together. So every single time that Mysteria card's played, their cost is dropped, which means you can get them playable pretty quickly. So I could have had one of them playable next turn. I decided to forego that for the Cagliostra, feeling like it was just the better play overall. And even with the chance to play another card, I still decided to favour Witch of the Forest Throw spell draw over just randomly playing out a Mysteria card, because I do have the 3-drop and 2-drop Mysteria card, which will flood our board pretty consistently. So I wanted to build a board with those first, especially considering the Nick, little furry guy, will be able to boost our board quite nicely. Of course, they cleared everything with Cassiopeia, but that's pretty respectable that we forced that out there. So we get a nice chance to go for some Mysteria cards.
This is exactly what I didn't want.
And a really good chance to just play out Anne. So we got the Anne sorcery, and it's animated. You can't go wrong with an animated one. So now it's kind of just a matter of buying time. That's what I found that's hardest part with this deck. Considering Anne's sorcery is so slow, you really have to buy the time to get to lethal, and the fact that you need to usually get some chip damage in to kind of end the game can be difficult. In this situation though, I did favour a different card because I didn't feel that Anne's sorcery, a second one, would have been that great. I definitely want to give this kind of deck a go in Unlimited, where I have the chance to use multiple Anne sorcery, taking full advantage of Wizard of Oz and things like that. I think that could be really devastating to your opponent. But we'll have to wait and see if I can build a competent deck before we make a video on something like that.
Enough of this indulgence.
So Blackworm's great. It's going to allow us to at least get some decent pings down, which is what we need. We need to get that damage in soon.
Oh, come on!
Considering turn 10 is coming up very quickly.
The root of life.
This is pretty much going to negate everything. Bit disappointing though,
It won't be long now.
as they're just going to completely negate any damage we just dealt.
Light glimmers.
My strength was too much.
But at least we got a decent Mysteria draw there, so we're going to be able to go for another Mysteria card. Another black is pretty decent. They have a really nice stat line too, being 6/5s.
Boys and girls.
They're quite a threatening beast, so when you can play out multiple cards, it's always quite helpful. There's the Omen of Unkilling, putting us to 6 health. But we should end this game right here, right now. Even, I think, without that Evo, we've got it with End Sorcery. 14 damage, 2 face. Pretty crushing for the Forest player. And next up, we are playing against Portal. Portal is definitely one of the stronger things that are currently floating around the ladder. So it's no surprise that we're going to be fighting it here. There have been a lot of different variations on Portal so far, ranging from artifacts to puppets, both with Omen, without Omen. Many different variants right now, just kind of hitting the airways. I'd like to see more hybrid variants, but beggars can't be choosers.
This garden blossoms for eternity.
This one does have its flower doll, so it is going super oppressive early on. And we're just going to casually throw down a Knight of Mysteria. It's going to get a pretty solid boost considering we've got 3 boostable Mysteria cards now, and we've got the Fate's Hand. Next turn with Knowledge is looking really, really impressive. And a couple of nice boosts to all our cards. We're looking at a very tempo-orientated early game, which this deck can do quite well. This is one of the more optimal hands that you can get with this deck, being able to throw down some pretty decent threats early on. Especially if I use the pressure I can do with Wormus, even without the enhance effect. It's still got some threatening damage to it. And Light Mage, being able to give you 2 Mysteria cards is actually really nice. It's one of the few cards I actually like spending my Evo on. Her and Cagliostra are probably the best 2 cards you can Evo.
The sharpest shot.
Omen of Destruction, not too big a problem. We'll die pretty quickly to a Mysteria Knowledge. Sorry, a Mysteria Missile, which normally comes from it. And that'll open up a pretty nice line of play. We're going to have a really good chance to use Anne, which is great. So we've got our win condition in our hand already, now it's just a matter of pressuring our opponent out. Which, considering they're going into turn 6, is going to be pretty easy for our deck. They're going to have to waste a lot of resources to really pressure us down. So it's definitely one of those decks that once you kind of get the hang of it and you learn exactly what kind of cards you need, it definitely becomes a lot easier to play. I still have a long way to go before I would be anywhere near competent enough with this deck to say that I'm good at it. But it's definitely a deck that I feel requires a little more thinking and a little more practice to really take full advantage of the cards that are in it.
So quick.
Then we have Mysterian Right, of course, just getting that extra little bit of damage in. No reason to really hold on to anything in this deck, as you're not really spell boosting anything majorly with 0 cost spells anyway. So taking the draws is usually fine. We only need 5 damage, which honestly is very easy for us to achieve at this point, even without End Sorcery. It's just going to be a matter of, will our 3/3 survive?
The march goes on.
So there's the Destruction in white. So we can't really allow them to heal, that would be pretty devastating. And white decent, Cagliostra is perfect. We would have been a little short, I think, if that wasn't the case, as we couldn't really play anything consistently here that would have quite made that reach outside of this. So definitely a nice pickup on that draw. So I can definitely see why this was doing quite well in the tournaments. A lot of people were taking Rune, and in particular Mysteria Rune, so I'm quite happy that at least Mysteria got the support it needed to really make quite a viable deck at the moment. Whether it will stay that way for the remainder of this expansion, we'll have to wait and see, but it's definitely a deck that I'm quite enjoying. It takes a bit of skill, takes a bit of practice to get used to, and once you're there, it feels quite an accomplishment to really be able to play this deck properly. So if you do enjoy this video, hit the like button and subscribe. You'll find the deck list in the description below. Again, this is one of the top wild decks for the wildcard tournament. All props go to them. A few people running basically the same build, so I think it was a pretty general deck. But we're going to be checking out the blood deck next. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it.